Hey friends, you've probably heard it said that as Christians we must hate the sin but love the sinner. And today I want to talk about how we can go about doing that. But before I get there, if this is your first time here, I just want to personally welcome you to the HomeGrown Ministries YouTube channel. I'm DJ, and on this channel I strive to provide you with biblical wisdom and encouragement to strengthen your walk of faith. Now, I've heard this saying a lot. I heard it my whole life growing up, was we must as Christians hate the sin but love the sinner. And it's really hard, in my mind, if this is the first time you're hearing this statement, to wrap your head around how we can go about doing that. And I think C.S. Lewis says this eloquently in his book, Mere Christianity. So I'm going to read you a section from that, where he's talking about this exact topic. He says, "For a long time, I used to think this a silly, straw-splitting distinction. How could you hate what a man did and not hate the man? But years later, it occurred to me that there was one man to whom I had been doing this all my life, namely, myself. However much I might dislike my own cowardice, or conceit, or greed, I went on loving myself." And I think that's a really interesting statement. It's one of those statements that you don't typically think about, but when you hear it, the light bulb goes off. You see, you hate the sin in yourself, but love the sinner every day when it pertains to you. And I know I do the same thing. There's lots of things in my life that I am guilty of, that I work on, and I try to be a different person, and I try to correct and fix, but I still despise it when I stumble and fall. Yet, I don't love myself any less because of my sin. And this is really getting at the crux of what Jesus is saying when he says we must love our neighbors as ourselves. You see, loving our neighbor as ourselves doesn't mean we must think that they're an awesome person. What it really means is that we must want what's best for them, just as we want what's best for us. So I don't want myself to sin because I want what's best for me. And I hate it when I sin because I want what's best for me, and I don't like the consequences that come with sin. And we should feel the same way about our neighbors, about our loved ones, about all those people that we interact with, whether inside or outside the church. We must hate the sin inside of them, but love the sinner. And so, in spite of who people are, in spite of how they act, we must want what's best for them. And see, as Christians, we know for a fact that all sin is destructive. It might feel pleasing in the moment. It might feel really good in the moment. It might get the desired results immediately and feel really good when it happens. However, that sin is still destructive. So if we truly love our neighbors as we love ourselves, we must tell them about the dangers of sin. And the best analogy I can give you here is when my kids want to do something that's dangerous, like jumping on the couch or riding a bike without a helmet. The result of the consequences of that could be devastating if they fall and get hurt. And sin's the same way. We might be able to get away with sinning once or twice and not really have any issues. We might be able to get away with sinning, doing something destructive, and get away with it and not really have any consequences in the moment. But at some point, that will catch up with us and it will be destructive. And if nothing else, it can lead us to hell. And that's something that if I want what's best for my neighbor, if I want what's best for myself, we must remind each other every single day that we must do what we can to put that sin away and to flee from it and turn to God. Now, Christians, the good news of the gospel is that although you cannot live a perfect life, you are redeemed and made right with God through the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. Every single person can have that. All you have to do is accept it. Now, because of that death and resurrection of Jesus Christ, because of what he's done for me, I want to do everything to repay him. I want to give him my entire life, and I want to live the way in which he's calling me to live, which is to live a life that glorifies God, free from sin. In so doing, I'll be able to lead other people to Christ through my actions and through my words. Because again, if I care for them, I must tell them the truth of the gospel message. Guys, I hope this helps you understand how we can hate the sin within people while still loving the people themselves. And please remember that anyone you interact with in a day is someone that was created by God who is loved by God, and we must treat them as such. God wants what's best for them. God wants them to come back to a right relationship with Him, and so should we. So guys, don't let your personal feelings about others get in your way of loving that person as yourself. Christian friends, I hope you found value in this message, and please continue to be the light to the world, be the salt to the earth. Go encourage somebody else today because the world desperately, desperately needs it. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.